Okay, N5 tutorial section 27, we're going to have a look at simplifying surds and something called rationalising the denominator. So let's get started with root 8. So basically a surd is when you've got the root of something and you can't get rid of the root sign, but you can simplify it. So for root 8, first thing that we're looking to think about with surds, good idea when you get a surds question is to list the square numbers between 1 and 100. That can be useful. So let's just go over these. So 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 is 4, 3 3s are 9, 4 4s are 16, 5 5s are 25, 6 6s are 36, and so on, right up to 10 10s are 100. So what we look to do with surds is to find the biggest number on the list, which is a factor of 8. So if we look through the list, the biggest number, which is a factor, is 4. So we can now write the square root of 8 is the square root of 4 times 2. That can now be written as root 4 times root 2. Root 4 is 2. 2 times root 2, the final answer is 2 root 2. Example 2. We're going to simplify root 45. So I'll go to my list, and the biggest number, which is a factor of 45, is 9. So I can now write that as the square root of 9 times 5. Root 9 times root 5. The square root of 9 is 3, so that can now be written as 3 root 5. Root 24. So back to the list, and I can select 4 as the biggest factor of 24. So that's the square root of 4 times 6. Root 4 times root 6. Square root of 4 is 2. Final answer, 2 root 6. Next one, root 80. Now if we look at the list, then we can take 4, but we must take the number which is the biggest factor, and that's 16. So take your time and have a think about it. 16 fits into 80 5 times. So that's square root of 16 times 5, square root of 16 times square root of 5, which is 4 root 5. Root 20. So again we can select 4 as the biggest factor of 20. Root 4 times 5, root 4 times root 5, square root of 4 is 2, final answer is 2 root 5. Next one is going to be root 8. Plus 5 root 2. Well, root 2 is a surd that can't be simplified, so we'll just leave that for the time being, but root 8 can, and that's root 4 times 2, square root of 4 times the square root of 2. So we'll just finish these lines off with plus 5 root 2. Root 4 times root 2 is 2 root 2. So 2 root 2 plus 5 root 2. Then we just put them together. 2 root 2s plus 5 root 2s, 7 root 2s. Next one, I've got root 72 plus 3 root 8 minus 2 root 2. Well, from the list, I could select 9 from the list because 9 goes into 72, but I must select the biggest number on the list, which is 36. So root 2 can be written as root 36 times 2. I've then got 3 lots of root 8. So that's 3 lots of, from the list I would take 4. So root 4 times 2. And root 2 can't be simplified, so I'll just leave minus 2 root 2. So that's root 36 times root 2 plus 3 lots of root 4 times root 2 minus 2 root 2. Root 36 is 6, that's 6 root 2 plus root 4 is 2, 2 times 3 is 6, 6 root 2 minus 2 root 2. So 6 root 2 plus 6 root 2 is 12 root 2, take away 2 root 2, and the final answer is 10 root 2. Next one we've got root 5 bracket root 5 plus 2, so root 5 times root 5 and then root 5 times 2. Root 5 times root 5 is just 5, since that follows the law that root a times root a is just equal to a. So root 5 times root 5 is 5, and then it's root 5 times 2, which is 2 root 5. That can't be simplified any further. Final answer. We've now got root 3 bracket root 4 plus 2. So root 3 times root 4 and then root 3 times 2. Root 3 times root 4 is root 12. And that follows the rule that root a times root b is equal to the square root of a times b. So root 3 times root 4 is root 12. And then root 3 times 2 is just 2 root 3. We can then simplify root 12. So the biggest number from the list of square numbers is 4. 2 root 3 can't be simplified. So root 4 times root 3 plus 2 root 3. Root 4 is 2, so that's 2 root 3 plus 2 root 3 to give me a final answer, which is 4 root 3. Next one, I've got root 3 plus root 2 in a bracket multiplied by root 3 plus root 8 in a bracket. So there's a couple of different ways of proceeding with this, but if I use FOIL method and multiply together to first, root 3 times root 3 is 3, and then outside root 3 times root 8 is root 3 times 8, that's root 24. Inside root 2 times root 3 will be root 6, and then last root 2 times root 8 will be root 16. So the first thing that I would say there, I can quickly spot that root 16 is 4, so that's 4 plus the 3 there. Root 6 can't be simplified, so just leave that as root 6, but root 24 can. So from a list of square numbers I would select 4, so that's 7 plus root 6 plus root 4 times root 6. So 7 plus root 6 plus root 4 is 2, 2 root 6. So final answer is 3 root 6 plus 7. Now going to look at rationalising the denominator. Rationalising the denominator basically means to get rid of the root sign on the bottom. So we've got 1 over root 2. Now to get rid of the root sign on the bottom, we can just multiply by root 2 and then the roots will cancel out. But to keep the fraction the same size, I need to do the same thing to the top. So 1 times root 2 is root 2, and then root 2 times root 2 is 2. Final answer. 3 over root 5, multiply top and bottom by root 5 this time. 3 times root 5 is 3 root 5. Root 5 times root 5 is 5. Next one, 1 over root 8, so top and bottom by root 8. 1 times root 8 is root 8, and root 8 times root 8 is 8. Now it's tempting at that point to just leave that as the final answer, but just think about it. Root 8 can definitely be simplified, so we need to simplify that third. So that would be root 4 times 2 over 8, which is root 4 times root 2 over 8. Root 4 is 2, so 2 root 2 over 8, and then 2 8s can come down to 1 quarter. So that's 1 root 2 over 4, which can just be written as root 2 over 4. The next one is root 2 over root 24. We can use the law that root a over root b can be written as the square root of a over b, and that's the square root of 2 over 24. 2 over 24 can be simplified, so that's square root of 1 over 12, which is just the square root of 1 over the square root of 12. Square root of 1 is 1 over root 12. That's then equal to 1 over root 4 times 3, which is 1 over 2 root 3. Top and bottom by root 3 would give me root 3 over, well, root 3 times root 3 is 3 times 2 is 6, final answer.